Okay. Tape recorder. This is reference case number 1801-5405, agency assist. The date is December 19, 2018, time 10:01 p.m. right now in the Sheriff's Department. Can you tell me your name, please, and title?
Denise Hurt, Chief Deputy.
Okay. How long have you been Chief Deputy here?
4 years.
Oh, okay. Before that, what were you?
Jail Administrator.
Okay. Okay. And I called you on the phone before, and I told you that I was assigned to investigate. It's going to turn out to be a misdemeanor offense in reference to releasing confidential private data. The Michelle Saldo consulting report in reference to Brian Johnson, the release to the Grand Rapids Herald, and that's what I'm checking into.
Okay.
So I was asked to check into that since it is a misdemeanor, and Grand Rapids PD conflicted it out to the Brainerd Police Department.
Okay.
I've talked to a lot of people who saw the report, who got copies of the report. Initially, I went to Scott Lepak and Lynn Hart. From there, Lepak gave it to the sheriff. Lynn got it. Jeff Walker got it. From what I can tell, the sheriff forwarded it to you. Is that how you remember seeing it through email?
Yes.
Okay. Rick Hodgson, anyway, a pile of people, and I think I've talked to my knowledge, everybody except you and the sheriff about it. In the process of seeing, since it is a misdemeanor criminal offense, trying to work with the attorney for the Minnesota Newspaper Association, Mark Anpison, to see if we can, through search warrant, compel them to release who gave it to them. As of now, that's not, I don't know yet if that's going to happen or not, but that's where it's working on. Because the Grand Rapids Herald wouldn't tell me the person who gave it to them or the chain of how they got it. They are aware that it was a criminal offense, so we're kind of working through that. So primarily, kind of going talking to people and seeing if they have any knowledge of how the Saldo report got released to the Grand Rapids Herald Review. Do you have any knowledge of how it got to the Grand Rapids Herald?
No, I don't.
Okay. Did you forward the report to anybody, email it, or save it and give it to anybody?
No.
Okay. Do you know anybody that did?
No.
Okay. And obviously the irony of it is that it was 2 days before the election, and then with the close election, Brian Johnson requested the investigation, so Grand Rapids had to conflict it out. So through several different people looking at it, it is deemed confidential and private. Were you aware that it was confidential and private?
Yes.
Okay. And you don't know who gave it to the Grand Rapids Herald?
No, I don't.
Okay. Has it been kind of a little bit of a talk around here, or is it kind of quiet about it?
Things are quiet. Well, there's nothing really said about it here at our office that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
Very little, and haven't heard anything since then.
Okay. When we talk on the phone, is the sheriff available today then to talk to?
Yes, he is.
Okay. Did you ever save it to any kind of thumb drive or anything along that line from your computer?
No, I have it in my, it's in my computer, but I never saved it to it.
Okay, and didn't print it off at all, or?
I printed a copy to read, but I then shredded it.
Okay. Okay. Is there anybody that you know that had it other than the people I talked about? I don't know if I said Kevin Pillsbury from Duluth Law or Ridge Hodgson from Washington County, or you, Jeff Walker, Lynn, Vic, Brett, Scott Lepak. Is there anybody else that you were aware of that had it or saw it?
No. When I did Brian Johnson's post deactivation,
Okay.
a copy was sent to them.
Postboard?
Yes.
Okay.
To go along with his.
Okay. Termination?
Yes.
Stuff. Okay. How was that given to them?
I mailed it.
Okay. That would make sense, because I didn't see that in any
I did address
forwarded email or anything.
I did address the envelope myself, placed it in the envelope myself.
Okay.
And
okay, that would make sense, because part of what's done is got kind of everybody's email and this email and the chain that it went through, and I didn't see that you forwarded it to anybody, so.
Absolutely not.
A little bit safer going through the mail. Was it U.S. mail or UPS, or?
U.S. mail.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Okay, anything more that you think I should know, or you think that you want to say, or any question I didn't ask, or anything like that?
No.
What do you think of it being released to the newspaper and then putting it in right before the election?
I was shocked.
Yeah. Yeah, and, as you can kind of imagine, there's really not motive for nobody else would care to release it, and so it's kind of a sensitive issue with it, and and I understand from reading that and meeting with Brian, I can understand very justifiably determination, and it's just a bummer that it had to kind of go out that way. Okay. Anything more?
No.
Okay. End of this statement. It's Chad Kleppman, investigator with Brainerd Police Department. Date November 28th, time 11:18 a.m. Reference case number 18015-405. Right now we are in the Itasca County
Administrator.
Yeah, county offices. Lynn, can you tell me your full name and title, please?
Sure. My name is Lynn Denise Hart, and my title is Human Resources Director.
Okay. How long have you been the Human Resources Director?
Since July of 2012, so about 6 years.
All right. Recently, were you aware of a investigation regarding Brian Johnson's employment and the Michelle Saldo investigation?
Yes.
Okay. How did you become aware of that?
I have to think about this for a minute. We were in the middle of a arbitration for Brian Johnson's employment on, and it came to my attention from the sheriff and the chief deputy that Brian's phone had been obtained and reviewed, and that there was pornographic data on the phone. And we were looking for the phone to support or negate what he was telling us as part of the arbitration about what his work activity may or may not have been, which is what the old investigation was about.
In short, was that for time card altering?
Yeah, time card altering. Yes.
Okay. So there's initial investigation. Did Michelle do that initial investigation? Or is that another county agency?
Yes, Michelle did that investigation. Yes, I had to think back. It's been a little while now. Yes, Michelle did that investigation. Yep.
And as a result of that investigation, Brian's county-issued cell phone was obtained and reviewed?
Right.
From there, how did it come about that Saldo's office was retained to do an investigation?
Well, because her office had been involved in the time card discrepancy matter, it was kind of an extension of that, because he was trying to say that he worked and there was, in the data on the phone, he didn't say specifically that the data on the phone would support that, but I'm just saying he said he worked all these extra hours, and so I think the sheriff and the chief deputy had his phone, they just never looked at it, and I think they opened it and looked at it, and there was a bunch of stuff that was not, there was a bunch of pornography on there.
Okay. As a result, did you personally obtain Michelle Saldo's investigation report?
Yes.
How did you obtain that?
From Michelle Saldo.
Were you the original person, along with Sheriff Williams, that obtained it?
Yes. It was my understanding that it came initially from Michelle to Scott Lepak, our labor attorney, and I,
So did you receive it from Michelle's office or from Scott?
No, I received it from Michelle.
Okay.
Yep. And then I did forward it to, Brett and to Vic. But I'm not sure if, I feel like this is the part I'm a little bit fuzzy on. I was trying to find my emails to support this, is that when I first got the report, I believe the first time I got the report was on 10/19, and when I received the report, I thought there was some errors in it, and I remember talking to Michelle in that I thought there was, I thought there was a discrepancy in there, and so after I spoke to her, I think she went back and looked, and I was mistaken. She had documented it the way it was or whatever, and in my head, and this is the part I was struggling with on the 25th, I believe I sent it. I think she resent it to me, and I think I sent it to Vic and to Brett from there. I think that was the second time she sent it, and so in my head, I wasn't sure if she had changed the report at all. And so I thought, they need to have this. But I don't think the report had changed.
Okay.
I think her original report done on the 19th was what stood.
Did you forward it to anybody else?
Mm-mm. No.
Did you print it?
I did.
Okay. What did you do with the printed version?
I have the Brian Johnson phone investigation file.
Okay.
And that's where it is.
Did you provide that to anybody?
No.
To your knowledge, you know who would have provided it to the Grand Rapids Herald Review publisher?
No.
Were you aware that it was private and confidential data?
Yes.
In your office, how is that document kept?
This is there's a 4-drawer file cabinet. So my office is locked. The fob to get into the human resources office is fobbed. And then to get into my office is a key.
Okay.
Then in my office, I have a 4-drawer filing cabinet that is locked. And I don't have a key right now because I keep it in my office. But this file is in that 4-drawer file cabinet, and it's locked. And it's locked all the time. I just pulled it out right now to come bring it down here.
Okay. So maybe I asked you, but do you have any knowledge of who gave it to the Grand Rapids Herald?
No.
Prior to the statement here, you provided me with the affidavit of personal service. Can you tell me about that?
So when we were still digesting the document, frankly.
Who's we?
The county, Vic, Brett, probably the chief deputy, Denise. We had not mailed that report to Brian, and that weekend, the 28th, is when this article came out in the paper, and we had not done anything with the document. We had just gotten it, and we
right, because you guys got it on the
25th or something.
Right.
Yeah. So in fact, I remember we talked to Scott Leapak about what are the next steps and, what do we need to do, but we hadn't done those steps. And then and that was a Friday, the Friday before, whatever that Friday was. And then the article came out in the paper over the weekend. And then, and then so from a HR standpoint, that came out and Brian had never even had the document yet. And so so then we thought we've got to get this to Brian because he needs access to it. And so that's when we arranged for, we drafted a letter and let him know that and gave him a copy of the report. And then we, I didn't trust just sending it delivery because it had such private data and confidential. I didn't want to release it to the UPS or the mail service or anything. And so we arranged to have it delivered to them through personal service. And the sheriff department made the arrangements. I put the letter in an envelope, gave it to Mr. Niemela.
Jeff Niemela.
Jeff Niemela, yep. And then he delivered it. And then, like I said, and then we received an affidavit of personal service which certifies that the documents were delivered to Mr. Johnson on that date, and I believe it was 10:30.
Jeff's instructions were to have it personally served, not to leave it in the mailbox or anything along that line?
Yes. Denise gave him the instructions. I was kind of just the delivery person to Denise could answer that. I didn't give him those instructions. Denise would have made those. She made the arrangements.
Okay, you made a copy of that affidavit of personal service for me?
Yes.
Okay. Is there anything more that you want to add or that you think would be important or you think that I should know?
No. Not that I can think of.
Okay.
Go
ahead.
I was just going to say, I think that you should talk to Denise, and you might need to talk to Jeff, too. I can't, this doesn't necessarily relate to the Grand Rapids Herald Review, but if because to be honest, I don't know if this is his address, this 214 Northwest First Avenue. That is a strange address in that that's Mr. Nemola's address, which is a little bit odd because, which is fine. I just don't know how it works when you serve papers. That's not my area of expertise at all. But it says I served these confidential documents upon Brian Johnson by handing a true copy of the documents to him or her and the address is actually Mr. Nemola's office. Is that normally how they serve?
No, but maybe Mr. Lima called Brian Johnson and had him come to his office.
Okay. So that would be, that's the only piece I just am not sure how the physics worked.
I don't know if that's normal, but I think that's how I read it.
Okay. Yep.
Okay. Anything more that you'd like to say?
I think that the envelope, if I remember right, I believe that the envelope was sealed. It was taped shut. It had Brian Johnson's name and address on it, and I believe it had private data stamped on it. So.
Okay. All right. Time is 11:30 a.m. End of this statement.